Hello, welcome back to another vlog, guys. Just chillaxing, just one of these, another just vlog types. I think it's been a while since we've done a vlog. Trying to remember when we last did one. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Um, I mainly because I just don't have much really to say. I mean, nothing really significant, but um. This time though I do have something I kind of want to talk about, which is this idea about like normalcy that people for some reason just completely disregard nowadays. Um, like this idea, this notion about normalcy, um, like people don't like. Okay, so the whole concept of normalcy, right, is that people don't like to subscribe to the idea that there is a normal existence and that there's a normal life, some sort of definition to that. They like to leave it as something ambiguous, something that is, up to you. It's pretty much you make it what you believe to be your normal, and uh, that's what is, that is what def defines your version of that. And like because the whole thing about living a normal life is that it doesn't really exist because it lacks a definition. That's what people are typically would tell you. I would tell you that my interpretation of all what they just said is a lot of gibberish because um, I came to like a statement in my head like a few days ago, and I think it's just a great way of looking at it, at least my perspective, like articulating it. I think it's just a really good way of putting it. The way that I would put it is simply this. I think that the idea of a normal life does exist, but the problem is that we collectively have made it so that that normal life, that normalcy, does not exist because everything has to be a problem. Everything has to be an issue. There can't be just there can't be a content for anything. We always have to have more. We always have to have an issue or a problem with something. Like, we can never ever just be cool with just the bare minimums, you know? And like a normal life is the kind of life that everyone likes to avoid, even though it's the life that typically a lot of people end up having anyway. Going to do the 9 to 5, working the hours, getting paid, to pay your rent and do this and that, learning to manage money. Um, that's the usually the life that people will fall into, but people don't understand that sort of life, and they make dumb decisions and actually make their lives worse. Again, creating more problems for themselves. Like, the new norm for normalcy is just problems, just being problematic, you know. The old idea of being having a normal life is just maintaining a certain order and being just content with the bare minimums, having a roof over your head, having a reliable vehicle, having a steady job. Like, these are things that people don't like to think about anymore because people are more concerned with getting more, and they don't understand what more means. Like, financially, people just have little understanding of finance. I'm just starting to get my feet wet on that and just starting to get um, some understanding of how it all works. And I don't put my ego into the equation because that's what I notice a lot of people's issues are when it comes to finance is that they let their ego get involved, and they their judgment is just completely filtered and completely skewed because it's not the real way of looking at things. Because some people will tell you to like maximize your profit or to just keep climbing the ladder and trying to gain more. And what they don't understand is that having more does not lead to, it doesn't automatically mean that it's going to be a cheaper existence. Like, I think people are just really, really dumb in that respect because it's like You clearly have no understanding of what finance is if you believe that to be the way that, um, if you believe that to be the way of how finance operates. It does not work that way. If you have a massive income coming in and you're going in to get an apartment, right? Let's say that you make fucking, let's say $4 or $5,000 a month, right? Something absurd like that. Don't expect your rent to be cheap. Don't expect your rent to be cheap. And also, like, the people who can like for $4 or $5,000, you might be able to afford a more premium living, but within that premium living, do you believe that it's going to be cheaper? Do you think that you're going to be able to afford the kind of rent that they're going to give you? Of course not, because they're going to demand more money because you have more money available. Even if you cannot meet that rent, that's how this works. That's what apartments, that's what management is concerned with, is what kind of money you have coming in. And within that, in terms of how they see it, how much you can realistically pay. They want to squeeze you as much as possible because you have so much money at your disposal, you know, for, you know, for if you're going to be entering an apartment complex. And you can try to go for a cheaper, you can try to go for lower income options. A lot of people don't, but uh, you could. But again, the likelihood of you getting a rent that is very plausible, very achievable, is highly unlikely because you have an income that is so huge and so big that apartments are just not going to go, yeah, you can just pay $1,000 a month. They're not going to do that. Like, like just because you have more money available does not mean things are just going to get cheaper for you. It just doesn't, especially because of how people operate with their money. They don't understand what it means to manage their money. They have money and they think that in having money that they can just do whatever the hell they want to do. I just heard like a guy or so not too long ago discussing about him and his girl going on a yacht. I have a friend who has like 3 or 4 vehicles, and asking him after that third vehicle, he showed off like a Tesla or something. And I was like, dude, um, why don't you go get an apartment? I mean, you have all this money available. He works in in the medical business, and they make good money. Um, why aren't you looking for an apartment? And he goes, well, I will once I get another vehicle. And this guy, mind you, has 3 vehicles. All of them, I believe, he paid off. I think. So they're his vehicles. They're not under any lease agreements. Um, like you just imagine the amount of money that's been poured into that. And it's, we're not talking about some junkers. We're talking about like Tesla and like premium vehicles. Lots of money that he has spent on cars, you know. And then I have other friends who are dealing with stuff. And it's just, they've told me their financial plans, and I'm just like, no, like that's just not smart. I don't see where a return on investment is for your like 'cause some other plans involve like investments, and I just don't see how that's going to pay off. Because there's a concern with just having more, either that whether that being in items or in profit and money. Nobody just wants to think about just what it means to have a certain amount and the benefits to potentially not having more, you know and the kind of opportunities that would be given to you. Because I'm not saying that you can't make more money. I mean, obviously you can, but concern yourself with making more money when you need to make more money, not when you desire to make more money. Because that's how you get into trouble. That's how you start paying for more things. That's why things are more expensive. It's not due to the government's fault or this and that. It's because your ego and your greed has dictated your lifestyle, and this is the results of that. Um, like, concern yourself with more money when you have kids. When you have kids, when you have like a wife, what have you, sure, then yeah, you have to have more money available. But that's when you need it. If you're just a single guy and you're just living your life, you don't need that much. You don't need that much. You need just a one bedroom, a studio maybe at best. People forget the benefits of a studio apartment. A studio apartment with less space, there's less of a concern for heating and cooling, less pay. Like there's not a whole lot that you have to concern yourself with if you're managing your money correctly. If you're just spending it just to spend it, if you're just doing it just to have flashy items just so you look luxurious, because there's this whole mentality that I just do not understand about this generation, or just generally speaking of people. It's like acting rich, like people like acting as if they're rich. Like it doesn't ever work, and they're always, it seems to me like they'll always be in a bad situation because they can never understand that they're the problem, and that their habits are not um, their habits are not the best options, the best ways of living. Like there is such a thing as a normal life. There is such a thing as people just having their bare essentials and just being content with that. That's what normal life looks like. Somebody who has their own place, someone who has just a reliable vehicle, one reliable vehicle, um, and going to work and getting paid and paying off that house, paying off the rent. That's that's what normal life looks like. That's what that is. But nobody wants that life. People want to live in a life where they don't have to work, where they don't have to do all these things. And guess what? Having that sort of life is incredibly expensive. That it is not a cheap life. This whole notion that it is a cheap life, it is complete nonsense. None of it is real. You will have to pay more because that sort of living does not come in any cheap format whatsoever. Like I said, if you're coming in with into an apartment $5,000, $6,000, you're not going to be paying 1,000 or less. You're going to be paying way more, probably $2,000 a month. Um, so like you may have a better overall house, but you're going to be paying a lot more. So and don't complain that you're paying more because that's, well, you chose to live in that sort of position. So don't complain. Don't complain. So, and there's a dog now barking, so my bad. Um, but yeah, I just find it very funny that people are just so ignorant as to what their decisions are and what they lead to. And they have such an odd concept of finance and just responsibility towards money. Just because you have more money does not mean anything. It just means that you make more money than me. That's all that means. That does not mean that you're of better living. That doesn't mean that you're in a better position. That just literally means that you are making more money than me. You may be able to afford a a more luxurious house or this and that, more fancier vehicle, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be a cheaper living for you. It's going to be a lot more expensive, and you're going to have more concerns for payment and bills than someone else would, because that other person doesn't have to have those things in their life. Some people are just more content and actually their, you know, respect what they are provided and not needing to like I understand if you're not in of a um if financially you come from somewhere of a, poor living. I understand why you would desire a better lifestyle. I get it. um you know but strive for just that average life. Like don't strive for anything higher than that. You don't need to be rich. There's no need for being rich, you know like there isn't. Like there's never been a benefits to being rich, except yeah, you have more flashier and more luxurious items, but the cost of that is just not substantial. And also just by morality, like you're just all it is just, again, your greed and your ego dictating your life. It all falls into the same patterns, you know? I'm very content with just like living a normal life. I just want just a studio, my own little place, even like if I have to, a 1 bedroom, and go work and just come home. Like I really am content with just having a base life. I don't want anything more than that because I don't desire those financial burdens. I don't care for that sort of responsibility because it's not needed. There's no need for that stuff. Like I said, if you need it, if you absolutely need it, where you have kids or you have this and that, sure, I understand where more money might need be needed. But if you don't need that sort of thing, which a lot of people don't, then just strive for just the bare minimums. Get a car, a, a good car. Don't get like some premium car, no Lamborghinis, what have you. Just a base vehicle, something that's reliable, but also in payment doable, So, um, uh, if you have to get a lease agreement, that's fine. A lot of people get lease agreements. Like, the reason why you get a lease agreement is not because, well, I can't afford to pay the vehicle outright. I mean, that's a part of it. No, you get a lease agreement because think about what you're using that vehicle for. Are you traveling from state to state? Are you going some you know, uh, distance? No. If you're just staying local, then yes, lease out a vehicle. So that burden of responsibility is not on you. But if you are going all over the place, all over the country, then yes, that vehicle should be yours because, like, you should be held more responsible for the for that sort of thing. You know, it's to say that the responsibility of the vehicle, depending on the distance and the type of um, reliability, you know, that ultimately is that determines whether or not it should be a lease or not. If you're local, just get a fucking lease. You don't need that kind of responsibility. So, like, all these sort of things are things that people don't consider and they don't think about. They just see dollar signs. They see it as like a challenge, almost like a really dumb challenge. Like, I want to get that. Let's see, let me try to get as much money as I can. And then I'm going to buy these things, and then surprise, surprise, it's actually a lot more expensive than I thought it would be. So, and it wasn't cheaper for some weird reason. So, but you know, strive for a normal life, guys. Like, really try to strive for a normal life. Just go for the normalcy. And normalcy does exist. It absolutely does exist. But the reason why it probably doesn't is because of us. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's not because everything's more expensive. It's not because it's not. You look at what people deem like, oh, this is more expensive. It's like, well, that's a premium vehicle. That's why it's more expensive, you fucking idiot. You get something that's a lot more feasible, then it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper. There's a reason why it's more expensive because you want something that is more luxurious. You're thinking more egotistically. You're not thinking more practically, you know? So that's the main difference. But yeah, you got to think more practically. You got to think more strategically. You can't just be thinking about what you desire. Your feelings are irrelevant. You have to think about what you need and how to obtain it within reasonable means. And in my book, it's not large amounts of income, it's not this and that. If you have a large income and you're making a whole bunch of money, might sound good, but be prepared to pay more. That's literally what it means when it's all said and done. Just because you got more money does not mean life is going to be cheap for you. Get ready to be paying a lot more because you'd have put yourself in that position to where you have more money, People are going to see you're going to have more money and they're going to squeeze you. So that's how all this works. So if you're going to strive for a life, strive for bare minimum, and I'm talking also financially. Because believe me, there's little of a place for them to squeeze you, and there's a little of a there it will be more affordable because you have less money for them to play with and less money for them to squeeze you out of. Hence why opportunities are more feasible and more affordable. You have more money, expect better, bigger pay. So, a normal life is having a good amount of money to pay off an affordable rent, all that sort of stuff. Going to work, that being the 9 to 5, or hell, even get up at 7 o'clock and just get out of work by 1 or 2. Like coming home, relaxing, repeating it all over, maybe hitting the town for a day or two just to relax. That's a normal existence. Nobody wants that life. For some weird reason, nobody wants that life. And it's just funny to me. It's just funny to me that nobody wants it. And they'll complain that life is just so hard, and they're like, fail to realize why. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's all because of you and because of your lack of understanding of yourself and your lack of understanding of just life in general. You're led by falsehoods, ultimately. And that's why life is the way it is. It's expensive because of you, because of your lack of understanding of things, and your greed being the ultimate dictator of your life. So, that's just where I'm coming from. I think people just need to have to like wake up and just see that they're moving towards a direction of just worsening their life and not benefiting their life. Think more practically, not egotistically. And trust me, you'll find a lot more opportunities in that respect than you would in the other respect. If you think more practically, opportunities will be available. If you think more egotistically, then yes, it's going to be a lot smaller. So yeah. So just wanted to kind of let that out just because like I just find it so funny when people bring that phrase up. It's like, oh, there's no such thing as a normal life. It's like, there totally is. You just don't want that life. Nobody wants that life. For some odd reason, they just don't want that life because they are groomed, or they've been taught, or somehow whatever it is, like this idea has gotten into their head that if they get more, then everything will just work out. It won't. It really won't. It's just going to get worse for you. So only get more when you need to get more, not because you want more. If you want more, expect more to be paid. If you desire just the bare minimums, expect potentially just the bare minimum, not more than that. It's all about the measure of what you're doing with your money, how you're managing your income, how much of an income you have. There's a lot of factors you have to consider, and a lot of people don't. They just want more. So, but I mean, that's just how I think. And I mean, you guys let me know. What do you guys think about that? I just think there is normal life, just nobody wants it. So, but yeah, so that's just where I'm coming from. But you guys let me know your thoughts. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, whatever the heck that's gonna be. So I'll see you guys later.